We'll start in a seated position, so go ahead and take a seat on the mat. It doesn't matter if your legs are crossed or long. Whatever seat you take, move around a little bit. Get nice and stable. And then when you found a solid foundation, go ahead and roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And close your eyes. Begin tonight's practice like we begin all practices, just tuning into our breath, noticing the shape of the breath, noticing whether it's fast or slow, if it's smooth or choppy. And as you start to take note of your breath, see if there are any places in your body where you might be holding some tension you can let go of. Check the space between your eyebrows or your cheeks. Wiggle your jaw side to side. Maybe drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. If your shoulders have started to creep back up by your ears, encourage them back down. Let your neck be nice and long here. In this opening sit, I'd like if you would imagine your favorite tree. It could be any tree that you love. It could be one that you make up right now. Just think about what it is that makes that tree. The roots in the ground, a solid trunk, whatever that looks like. And then branches and leaves that reach up toward the sky. Keep that image of the tree in your mind throughout the practice. And imagine yourself like that tree as we move from pose to pose. So have that solid foundation and grounding beneath you. Let yourself have a nice, tall and solid core. And your core includes your legs and your arms. And then think about being nice and light, allowing your head and neck to be like the leaves and branches that move side to side. Sometimes you'll sway, sometimes you might fall over to one side. That's okay. Just plant your tree again. Reestablish your roots. And then allow yourself to grow from those roots. Take one more inhale. Exhale. And then gently blink your eyes open, coming back into your space. Bring your arms up overhead. Get nice and long in your side body. Reach your arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. So you might not go super far. That's okay. Wherever you're at, allow your head and your neck to dangle here. First stretch of the practice. Might not go very far. Might feel nice and stiff. That's okay. Just notice where you're feeling any sensation. Take one more inhale. Exhale, walk your hands back in, and then walk them behind you, fingertips toward you or away from you. Inhale, lift your chest up toward the sky, and then allow your neck to dangle if that's comfortable. Stretching through the front of the body. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back to your neutral spine, and then switch the cross of your legs. So whatever leg was in front, bring it behind. And then reestablish that foundation. So if your legs are long in front of you, you can keep them that way. Or if you want, you can take a cross-legged variation. Wherever you're at, go ahead and reach your arms up again. Inhale, find length. Exhale, we'll fold forward again. Might feel different this time. Just notice what those differences might be. So we won't do anything fancy with our breath tonight, but do notice your inhales and your exhales. Especially when we're holding something for a little while. It's a nice way to bring your brain back from wherever it may have wandered off to. Take one more inhale. Exhale, walk your hands back in. This time, reach your arms up nice and long. Exhale, right hand's gonna come outside the right hip, palm down. Reach up through the left arm, and then exhale, lean over to the right. You might walk that right hand out a bit. You might bend the right elbow. Stretch is gonna be in the left side body. Keep that left arm nice and strong here. Don't let it get floppy. And the easiest way to do that is to really reach through each of your fingers here. And if you notice your shoulder starts to crash into your ear again, gently bring it down. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back up through center. Get long again here. Exhale, left hand comes down to the left. Right arm reaches up. And then stretch over to the right. Keep that right hip on the ground best as you can. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back up to center. And then we are going to come to our hands and knees in a tabletop. So if you'd like, you can fold up your mat or your towel to give your knees a little bit more cushioning. Or if you've got a blanket, you're welcome to use that. Or if it's okay on your knees, you don't need anything under your knees. For me, it feels a little bit better to have something, but whatever your body says is the right thing for your body. So tabletop, knees will be under your hips, shoulders over your wrists. Line up your index finger with the long edge of your mat, and then spread your fingers nice and wide. So whenever we press into our hands, you want to press into the L on the left hand and the J on the right. So this fleshy spot between your thumb and your index finger is where you want most of the pressure to be. That'll protect your wrists. So now that you're set up here in tabletop, on an inhale, lower your belly, lift your chin and your tail for cow pose. Exhale, we'll do the opposite. Round your spine, tuck your chin and your tail. Think about pushing the mat away from you here. Inhale, lower your belly, lift your chin and your tail. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, lower your belly. Exhale, round your spine, and we'll hold here for a couple breaths. Think about spreading your shoulder blades as far as you can apart from one another. Let your head and your neck be loose. And then come back to that neutral spine, so that tabletop pose. And then from here, we're just gonna make some circles. So we're gonna roll our hips over to the right, and then back toward our heels, over to the left, and then up forward. So go ahead and make those circles. Let your breath be nice and easy here. We'll do one more going this direction. And when you reach the top, go ahead and reverse direction. So you'll bring your hips down toward the left first, and then toward both heels, and then over to the right. So we'll do that 3 times. One last time. And then come right back to that tabletop. So we're gonna do a little shoulder stretch here. Walk your left hand in. It can be under your face or it could be out a little bit further. And then reach your right arm up toward the sky. Really reach here. And then when you're ready, you're gonna slide this right arm under your left arm, come down on your right shoulder, and then your right cheek. So this is a shoulder stretch. Left hand can stay right where it is, or if you'd like, you can walk it forward here. You can also press into that left hand, which will give you a little bit more depth in the stretch on your shoulder. If you walked your left hand out, go ahead and walk it back in. On an inhale, press back into that left hand, and then sweep that right arm back up toward the sky. Exhale, come back to that tabletop. And then we'll do the right side. So again, walk your right hand in a little bit. Can be under your face, it could be out from there. Inhale, sweep your left arm up toward the sky, really reach here. And then exhale, slide your left arm under your right and come down to the left side of your face. Staying right here is perfect. Or you can walk that right arm out in front of you. Take one more inhale. Press back into that right hand and then reach up toward the sky. Exhale back to your tabletop. Tidy up your hands. Bring your big toes to touch. Take your knees out nice and wide and then sink your hips back toward your heels. If you can, allow your torso to drape on your mat. Reach your arms forward and then maybe bring your forehead to the mat for child's pose. Let your hips soften here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back up to your tabletop. And then check in with your hands here especially. Make sure your fingers are spread nice and wide. Tuck your toes. And then like we did in that cow pose, lower your belly. Lift your tail here. Keep that as long as you can as you start to lift your knees up and then send your hips back. So you want your hips up and back. Knees can stay nice and bent here. Heels don't have to be on the floor. Feel what this feels like. Maybe pedal out your legs. So drop one heel, lift your leg back up, and then drop the other heel and just pedal it out a little bit. You can also roll your hips side to side. Working into our first downward dog of the class. You're moving, come back to stillness. Put a nice deep bend in your knees. Bring your chest toward your thighs. Lift your heels up nice and high, and then start to press your heels back and down. They don't have to meet the mat, but this will make your spine nice and long. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling this downward dog. Take one more inhale and look forward between your hands. On your exhale, travel to the front of your mat. So you can take little steps, you can take big steps. But walk your feet up to your hands, bend your knees, and then just allow yourself to fold here. Option to clasp your elbows. Let's sway side to side. If you've got a blanket on your mat, go ahead and move it off to the side. If your hands are clasped, go ahead and release them. And then on an inhale, bring your palms to your shins and come halfway up. Let your back be nice and flat. Exhale, fold back down. We'll do that again. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, come halfway up. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. Sweep your arms out and up and come up to standing. Arms reach up for extended mountain pose here. And then bring your hands to heart center. So we'll go through a few rounds of half sun salutations. So your feet will be hip width apart. Hands start at heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do one more round. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Go ahead and release your arms. And then take a peek down at your feet. Spread your toes nice and wide. Lift them all up off the mat. And then see if you can set them down one at a time. Bring your weight to the front of your feet. And then bring your weight into the back of your feet. Come right back to center. Lean a little bit to your left. Lean a little bit to your right. Then come right to center. Close your eyes. And we're going to engage all of the muscles in our body, starting with our feet. Think of your feet like those roots of your favorite tree. Feel nice and grounded. Feel connected to the earth beneath you. And then engage your calf muscles. Engage your thigh muscles. Engage your core. So your belly button is going to come toward your spine. Engage your glutes. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And then extend your fingers actively toward the ground. This is the trunk of your tree. Feel that stability. Feel that strength. And then allow the back of your neck to reach up toward the sky. So you won't actually move anywhere, but you'll feel it. These are your branches rising nice and tall. And this whole structure is strong and powerful, but your breath is nice and easy here. Take 2 more rounds of breath. And at the bottom of your last exhale, go ahead and release. Open your eyes. Shake it out if you'd like. And if you're not already at the front of your mat, go ahead and make your way there. Feet will be hip width apart. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back toward the back of the mat, and then go ahead and lower your right knee. Allow your hips to sink forward and down here, and then bring your hands to your left thigh. So your knee is going to be over your ankle on the left side. If your knee is past your ankle, walk that foot out just a little bit. So once you feel stable here, you could stay right here, hands on your thigh, or you could reach your arms overhead. This is a low lunge. From here, bring your arms out nice and long to the side. And then twist toward your bent knee. So your right arm is going to come toward your left leg. Left arm is going to be behind you. Find a focal point and let your gaze soften there. That'll help your balance. Come back up to your low lunge, arms overhead. Exhale, circle your arms down here. Plant your palms. Tuck your back toe. And then go ahead and step back to downward dog. From here, take your feet out wide. Mat width, maybe even wider. Let your knees be straight. And then slowly rock side to side here. Feel what's going on in the hip sockets. Come back to stillness. Walk your feet hip width. And then we're going to step the right foot forward. Try to get to your hands. If not, you can always grab that foot and bring it up toward your hands. So once you're set up here, go ahead and drop that left knee. Check in, make sure your right knee is over your right ankle. If it's past your right ankle, go ahead and walk that foot forward. Once you find your stability here, bring your hands up to your right thigh. You can stay right here, or you can reach your arms up overhead. Think about sinking your hips forward and down here. That'll bring a little bit more stretch to the front of your left thigh. Bring your arms out to a T. Inhale here. Exhale, you're going to twist toward that bent knee. So left arm toward right leg, right arm behind you. Breathe here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, back to center, arms overhead. Circle your arms down, plant your palms, tuck your back toes, and then step back to downward dog. So from downward dog, peek at your hands, make sure you've got your hands in a nice place. So fingers spread wide, index fingers parallel to the long edge of the mat. And then you're going to shift your body forward. So your shoulders will be over your wrists. And then go ahead and lower your knees. From here, keep your knees where they are. Keep your hips lifted. Bend into your elbows. And lower your chest and chin. Once you're here, go ahead and lower on down to your belly. Bring your palms to your armpits or even a little bit lower. Inhale, lift your chest using the strength of your back here. So press down into your legs, into your feet. Press down into your pelvis and allow your upper back to lift. And then lift your hands. If you dropped when you lifted your hands, that's okay. It just means you were using some strength in your hands and your arms as opposed to the strength in your back. Stay in this cobra for a couple more breaths. Go ahead and lower all the way back down. From here, tuck your toes. Lift your hips. So start to bend your knees here. And then press yourself back into that tabletop. With your toes tucked, then you can come back to your downward dog. Take a nice deep inhale here. Open mouth side out. Inhale. Open mouth. One more time. Inhale. Open mouth side out. And then go ahead and walk to the front of your mat. Come back into your forward fold. And again, you can rock side to side here if that feels good. Come back to stillness. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. From the front of your mat, feet will be hip width apart. And then step your right foot back. And then turn your toes out. So your toes are going to be at like a 1 or 2 o'clock, if you were looking at a clock. And then walk your left foot toward the left a little bit. So your feet, think about your feet being on railroad tracks as opposed to in a straight line. They're going to be off a little bit. Bend into your front knee here. And then press through the outside edge of the right foot. So your legs are nice and engaged. Once you feel nice and stable here, reach your arms up overhead for warrior one. Your shoulders are coming up to your ears. Bring them back down. If it's uncomfortable to have your arms straight overhead, you can have them out wider. If you'd like to go a little bit further here, maybe you take it into a tiny bit of a back bend. So like that shape we made when we were on our bellies, same idea. Release your arms. Bring your hands to your hips and straighten your front leg. So same leg position, this time that front leg is straight. And then make sure your hips are square to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then you're going to lead with your sternum to the center of your chest, forward. Keep your spine nice and long here. And then whenever you start to feel like you're going to round, that's where you're going to stop. So you can keep your hands at your hips, or if the ground is close, you can bring your fingers to the ground. If you have something like a water bottle or a book handy, you could use that under your hands as well. This is pyramid pose. And it'll stretch the outside of your hip. Take one more inhale. Bend back into that front knee. Sweep your arms back up, so coming back to that warrior one. Once you're here, go ahead and circle your arms down, frame your front foot, and then step back to your downward dog. Pause here for a couple breaths. Check in with what your breath is doing. On your next inhale, look forward between your hands and step your right foot forward. Again, if it doesn't make it, grab it. And then take that back foot and turn your feet out. So your toes will be at a 10 or 11 o'clock this time. And then walk your front foot out of it. So again, think about train tracks here. Bend into that front knee. When you're ready, Find the balance, and then sweep your arms forward and up for warrior one on the opposite side. Again, think about that tree that we thought about at the very beginning of practice. Your feet here are your foundation, your roots. Your legs and your torso are your trunk. Your arms and your head are your branches reaching up. So feel that strength and stability. Stay here, or if you'd like a little bit more, you can take this into a gentle back bend. Wherever you're at, bring your hands to your hips, straighten your front leg, make sure your hips are squared to the front of the mat, leading with your sternum, lengthen your spine, and start to fold forward. When your spine is gonna start to round, that's where you'll stop. Hands can come to the floor, they can stay at your hips, or you can bring them to whatever prop you might have, water bottle, book, block. Take one more inhale, bend back into that front leg, reach your arms up, coming back into that warrior one, and then this time, just step forward, standing back into that mountain pose. So that first standing pose we did where we were nice and strong, where we closed our eyes, let's do that again. Close your eyes, gauge all your muscles, and tune in to what you're feeling right now. Yoga is about making some pretty cool shapes and doing cool things with your body. But sometimes the most valuable thing we can do is just to pause and listen. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, go ahead and release. And we're gonna come into a balance pose. So we will take our feet hip width apart. Bring your arms up overhead, clasp your left wrist in your right arm. And then start to lean over to the right. So your hips might go to the left, that's fine. Once you're here, you could stay here, or you could start to bring your weight into the right foot. Maybe your left foot will float. If you want more, you can send that left foot behind your right, like you're on a wire here, and then just bring the tip of that left big toe down. If you fall, it's okay. Just come back. Or don't. If you're done, you're done. That's fine. Wherever you're at, one more inhale. Exhale, come back to center, release. We'll switch it up. This time, right wrist and left hand. Lean over to the left. Stay here, or start to bring your weight into the left foot. Right foot floats. Or you can send that right leg behind the left, touching down just on that top edge of the big right toe. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back to center, release your arms, and then take your feet out a little bit wider than hip width. Feet are going to face in opposite directions here. Once you've got your feet set up, bring your hands to your hips, and we're going to come down into a squat. So knees are going to come out over the toes, and you have options here. So you want your spine to stay nice and long. If this is your squat, perfect. If your squat's a little lower, perfect. Lower, perfect. If you go all the way down, hips just hovering over the ground, also perfect. We'll be here for a little bit, so pick a variation that you can hold. And you might find if you take a higher variation, gravity will bring you down. Wherever you're at, hands will come to heart center, elbows out to the side, and then go ahead and close your eyes here. Trust the roots that are holding you. Trust the trunk of your tree for giving you stability and support. And then trust your head and your neck. They'll stay with you. Take a few more rounds of breath here. See if there's anywhere that you've collected some tension and can release it. Good place to scan your face, scan your jaw. And then when you're ready, nice slick transition here. Hands come behind you. We're just gonna come down to our seats. And actually we're gonna come down to our bellies, all the way down to our bellies. So legs behind you, nice and long. Toes pointed. Elbows are gonna come out to the side. You can pillow your hands, so one palm on top of the other, or you can make fists and bring your forehead on top. So we'll take a few breaths. See if you can send your breath to your low back here. Our lungs are giant, and rarely do we use them to their full capacity. But when we're on our bellies, you can really feel the breath in the back body. When you're ready, elbows are going to come underneath your shoulders, forearms flat on the ground, fingers spread nice and wide. Press down in your pelvis, press down in your legs, and then through all 10 toes. Think about dragging your navel through your elbows. It's not going to happen, but that will give you some lift in the upper body for Sphinx pose. If there's pinching in the low back, engage the pelvis a little bit more. So really draw your belly in there. Take one more inhale. Exhale, pillow your hands like we did when we came down to our bellies, and go ahead and rest here. We're going to do a really big twist from our bellies. So while you're here, bring your right knee up toward your right armpit. Doesn't have to get all the way there, but you want your knee bent up toward the front of your body. Come back into those Sphinx arms that we had. And then you're gonna walk your right arm out so that you can bring your left arm underneath, sort of like we did with that shoulder stretch to start the class. So once you're here, now's the fun part. You get to reach this front arm forward and then back behind you. Might not reach the ground with your shoulder here, that's okay. Do the best you can to relax here. If your mind starts to wander, return to your breath or return to your tree. A big part of the work of yoga is finding something to focus on, to let your mind settle into one thing. It's okay if your mind wanders, that's what they do. But when you notice that, that's when you know that you've worked hard to find a single focus point. So either tuning into your breath or tuning into a single image. Take one more inhale here. On your exhale, reach your right arm up toward the sky. Bring your palm down. And then come back to your belly. Pillow your hands. We'll pause here. Just notice differences side to side. Now you'll bring your left knee up towards your left armpit. Come back to those Sphinx arms, so forearms down. Walk your left arm out. Right arm sweeps underneath your left arm. And then the fun part, reach that left arm back over behind you, coming into a twist. This side might be way different than the last side. Might be pretty similar. A couple more rounds of breath here. One more inhale. Exhale, reach your left arm back up. Go ahead and bring it to the floor and then roll back to your belly. Again, pillow your hands. We'll pause here for a breath or two. And then from here, we're going to come to our back, so you can just roll on over. Make your way to your back. And let your legs be long, let your limbs be long. And pause here. Just notice your spine on the ground. Go ahead and hug your knees into your chest If you'd like, you can rock side to side here. And then pause with your legs at your chest. Go ahead and bring your feet down to the mat, knees stay bent. And then you're gonna cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. So flex that left foot, so toes will be pointed toward the sky. And you could stay right here if this is enough stretch for your hips. If you want more, you're gonna hug your right knee in toward your chest, and you can clasp your hands underneath your right thigh. Right foot can be loose, you don't have to have that one flexed, but the one on top you do. If you'd like, you can gently and slowly roll side to side here. Change the stretch in that left hip. If you're moving, come back to stillness. Take one more inhale. Exhale, drop the whole setup. Keep it though. Keep that left ankle on top of the right knee. And then you're simply gonna drop it all over to the right. So your left foot's gonna come outside your right knee to the ground. Coming into a twist here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back up to center. Go ahead and uncross your left ankle, and then we'll swap it up. So right ankle crosses on top of left knee. Keep that right ankle flexed, so toes pointing toward the ceiling. Stay right here if this is enough stretch for your hip, or you could hug your left knee in and clasp your hands behind your left thigh. And remember that sides can be different. So this side, you might feel a lot more stretch, not bringing that left knee in toward your chest. Or vice versa, you might need to bring it in closer. If you've lifted your left foot, bring it back down to the mat. Keep the setup, and then drop everything over to the left. So right foot comes outside, the left knee to the ground for a gentle twist. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back up to center. Uncross your right ankle from on top of your left knee. And then bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to come out to the side. This will be our last pose of the practice before Shavasana, our final resting pose. So allow your hips and your knees to soften here. And really connect with your breath. Notice where your breath is. Do you breathe with your belly more than your chest? Maybe you breathe with your chest more than your belly. Maybe you breathe with both equally. Notice how your rib cage expands on an inhale and how it softens on an exhale. Take one more round of breath. And when you reach the bottom of your exhale, bring your hands to the outsides of your knees. Go ahead and bring your knees together and then hug your knees into your chest one last time. Option to rock side to side. Come back to stillness and take a nice deep inhale. On your exhale, press your forehead up toward your knees, stretch out the back of your neck. And then go ahead and release all your limbs down to the mat. Coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. Close your eyes if you haven't already. And then all together, we'll take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth. Let your limbs grow heavy here. Let your eyelids and your breath grow light. Allow yourself to gently drift away here. I'll be here. And I'll bring you out in a few moments from this resting pose. But allow yourself to deeply, deeply relax. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, except to just be right here. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring movement back into your fingers, into your toes. Maybe make circles with your wrists and your ankles. Waking up your body here. If you'd like, you could take a full stretch, arms overhead, feet and legs nice and long. Bend your knees when you're ready. And slowly roll over to your most comfortable side and let your whole body rest. When you're ready, gently press yourself back up into a seated position. Doesn't matter how your legs are, just let yourself be comfortable. Keep your eyes closed. And when you've arrived in your seat, bring your right hand to heart center and left hand on top of your right. In this gesture of compassion, pause to honor your efforts. Pause to digest the effects of the practice. And we'll pause once more, returning to that image of our favorite tree. Imagine yourself as that tree now and through the rest of your day and your week. Find that those things that keep you rooted and that allow you to grow and rise, to be strong, and to give back. When you're ready, bring your palms to touch at heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice. Namaste.